Like, what to you is the difference, other than just numbers, maybe, between immigrants of 100 years ago and the immigrants of now?
Well, difference is race. The immigrants of 100 years ago were racially European. And, you know, there's sub-races in Europe. People get at that. They talk about how the WASP natives of America.
I think I'm going to give better reactions if I just tell you guys what I'm thinking. Now, the guys, Greenwald says we're going to talk about immigration. I just spilled on how we could assimilate. Me and Nick just agreed on the last clip, so I'm thinking we're about to come in with more agreement. He says the difference is race. I'm leaning to thinking he's about to go on his bullshit racial theories and narratives again. Because he just said that the difference is race and laughed.
Didn't take a shine to the Italians, Irish, Jews, Slavs, etc. that came in, with the exception of Jews. I don't consider Jews, they're sort of a distinct group, but they were all white. Italians are white, Irish are white, and that's why it was easy for them to assimilate. You know,
he's rewriting history. The Jews were in the ghetto in the 1930s. The blacks were in the ghettos in the 1930s. The Hispanics were in the ghettos in the 1930s. The Italians were in the ghettos in the 1930s. I know y'all heard of the Italian mafia. He's acting like white people came over here and the other whites accepted them. That is totally not what happened. The British whites were the American whites, and when the worldwide Britain and Ireland got in a fight, but then even coming into America when different groups came, whether they were French, whether they were Spain, which is Hispanic, whether they were Italian, whether they were Jewish, they were all mistreated by the British Americans. So this is a rewrite of history stating that whites just came and assimilated together. That did not happen.
My ancestors, most of them were white. I have one grandfather who's Mexican. The rest of my grandparents.
Bro, you only have 4 grandparents. So 25% of your DNA is Hispanic or Mexican. So you're trying to just make it like you're white, and it's obviously like you're not. That's why you said it in the way you said it. Well, most of my grandparents are. I just have one grandparent that's this. If you would have had 2, you would have been half Hispanic. None of my grandparents are white, but as all black, not all, but majority of African Americans are 25% European. So basically, how you're the amount of Hispanic DNA in you is the amount of white DNA in most African Americans. We can't just belittle 25%. It's not almost half, but it's one more grandparent will put you at half.
Or Irish and Italian, they look like the.
Wait a minute, bro. You Mexican, Irish, and Italian? You are in no way the founding stock of America.
Native people, they practice Christianity, a different flavor of it. They come from the same continent. They're racially white, and I do believe that.
I see why you're trying to make everything racially white. You have no kind of tie to the people who founded America, which was British Europeans, Northern Europeans from Britain. Again, the group of stock you come from were the whites who the British thought were less, the Italians who they thought were violent, who people still think are more violent because of the mafia. The Mexicans who people don't even want to come to America. I'll do a spin on the Guadalupe Hidalgo treaty about how the people who used to be in Texas are now in Mexico. So basically, there was a time when today's Texas and Louisiana and California, they were Spanish people, Spanish and indigenous people. So there was a war fought, and then those people were kicked out of their homeland and pushed down to Mexico. So you come from that stock. You come from the people that now Americans don't want in America.
Our race is a part of our distinct identity. And the people that are coming in now, they're Indian, they're Chinese, they're Hispanic.
That's the same. Bro, this is crazy. This is all crazy to me. The people who are Native Americans were from East Asia. The people who came around the time of Christopher Columbus were Spanish. You're saying that it just makes no sense. The people coming are the same people who have always been coming. There's been no difference in the people coming to the New World. The people from the Old World migrated to the New World. That happened thousands of years ago. It happened hundreds of years ago. It's the same group of people migrating from where they're from to where they are now. So I cannot follow the logic right now.
They're racially different. And I think people have, rightfully so, a lot of reservations about America going from a white country to a not white country.
Bro, you're not really white. Italians are not white. People from Spain are really not white. The Northern Africans enslaved the Moors, and then, as you know, the Spanish people went to Mexico and not gonna say interbred. That's kind of disrespectful, but they had children with the Native Americans. So a lot of these groups that people call mulattoes, a lot of these Southern European groups that people call mulattoes, are like a mix of different genetics, and you come from that mix. I mean, you're hardly white at all, or you're hardly Northern European white like Hitler and Germany and them.
A country that was 90% white to a country that
America was never 90. This man is, man, I wanted to talk to you, but it's ridiculous. America was never 90% white. It's always been having immigrants. Let me calm down, because I think one of the comments said I just be bopping around. America was never 90% white. The 90% white statement comes from they've always, because of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, when America took in, there was the war. America won the war, but America stated that the Hispanic people and the natives could stay. The Hispanic people and natives always lived in California. They always lived in the Southwest. They always lived on the West. They counted those people as white on the census. So people are saying that these places had white people, but just like now, today, Hispanics are considered white. The only thing is, on the ethnicity, they put Hispanic. So it's a trick that they're saying that never really existed in all of America. Yes, there's a chance that 90% of the Northeast America was British white stock, but the vast majority of America, like the continent we currently have, they always had the Hispanic people, and they always had the Hispanics and the Native Americans, who I consider East Asians, and the South always had the blacks, because that's where the slave, a large portion of slaves were in the South. So this 90% white is just not true. It's based upon them saying that the group I'm talking about was white, but now he's trying to say those people aren't considered white. It's the same people. They're just saying that they're Hispanic now, but they used to be white when it was 90%.
maybe 70% not white. It won't look the same. It won't feel the same. It won't be the same. And these are people with a completely different heritage, different religion, language.
No, we all speak English in America for the most part as our first language. We're predominantly like African Americans are Christians, Hispanic people are Christians. Not sure what East Asians in America. I'm not saying worldwide Hispanic. Well, I think worldwide Hispanics are Christians, and even worldwide because of black people, Southern Africa being colonized, they're Christians too. So yeah, the people he's talking about are actually Christians. So I'm not going with his statement that the Hispanics and the African Americans and the East Asians and Native Americans aren't Christian. We follow the Christian, not all of us, but a large group of people follow the Christian values. We all speak English. We all believe in democracy and the rule of law in America. So yeah.
They look different. They just are different. And I don't have a problem.
Right. The look different is the only thing that so far I can agree with. Right. Different races look different. Just skin color wise, not even necessarily like, facial features, right? It's just the skin color.
With them in themselves, I'm Catholic. So, we believe that every human being is created by.
He's Catholic. So that's the Italians, right? Rome. You see where I'm going with this? So Catholic is Rome, but they had a problem with the Italians. He's trying to state that we should keep America white, the WASP white. WASP white has to do with Northern Europeans. Italians were more swarthy. So I'll have to go into that, like who's swarthy, because people talk about Jesus, etc. But the Italians are swarthy. So he's saying that America should stick with the WASP white, but a Catholicism is based upon Europeans who are swarthy.
God, we do believe there's a universal community of human beings, but you still have China, you still have India, you still have the Middle East and Africa. If America becomes a not white country, it's almost like we lose what's ours. And moreover, we're also losing it in Europe too. The European countries, they're undergoing the same
all of this stuff y'all scared of. When you did it to other people, what happened, right? So they have Native Americans in America. Europeans come and kill them. Is that a problem to Nick? You have British people going to Australia where they already had Aborigines. Was that a problem for Nick? You had Europeans and British people going into India. Was that a problem for Nick? Thank goodness the Asians were able to keep the Europeans and Africans out. They're the only people who have always kept everybody out. People have a hard time getting over there to East Asia. They're able to keep their culture and heritage separate from everybody else. But the Africans, that happened to the sub-Saharan Africans. African Americans, like I say, are now partly European. And the Northern Europeans came and demolished Africa, killed people, raped the women and children. The Muslims castrated the African Americans. So yes, I do see what Nick is saying. When people come, they can cause a problem. But Europeans did that across the whole world. That's why the whole world is upset at Northern Europeans.
Information. And so, there's this idea that we're going to be a post-racial country and live in a post-racial world, but it feels like white people are the ones that are going to be erased. There's still going to be Indians, Africans, Chinese, Peruvians in a post-racial world, but there won't be any white people.
This is getting tricky. I can see that, again, I said that last clip, there is too much hatred towards white people from the sense of, if there are less white people, like making that statement saying, let's say I've seen articles where it says we need less white babies. Those articles were published and nobody censored it. Nobody was fired. Wasn't outrage. But if someone once said we should have less black babies, they'll be fired. The platform will lose money. There's a hair, it's not a hair, but it's like, I'll just say kind of like a hair. There's some truth in some of these things Nick are saying from the standpoint of, we got to be fair to everybody. So it's nothing wrong with white people wanting to stay white. But the reason I said this is a little nuance because something popped into my brain when he said that. We got to understand genetics. I'm 25% European, but my skin is black. So everybody's saying I'm like a sub-Saharan African because I have the look. But like, I still have those European genes. So what I'm saying to Nick and other people who are like white and saying we'll lose white culture, it's like genetics, in terms of genetics, the black skin color comes out as the dominant gene. So the reason Europe is the way it was is because the people migrated, they had a different diet and they were away from the sun. So really, if Europeans had stayed in East Africa, they would look like the East Africans look, but the East Africans, when they migrated, changed pigmentation. So it's not their hair didn't change. East Africans always had the type of hair that Europeans currently have and Asians have. It's only the sub-Saharan Africans like me who had this type of hair. But so what I'm trying to explain to Nick is, yes, white, if you have blacks and whites and they intermingle, you'll lose the white skin, but you guys won't lose your heritage and identity. You'll still have your genetics. You'll just look how you used to look. You used to be darker skinned until you migrated where you migrated. So you can still be the same culture and heritage. You'll just be a different skin color. That's all I'm trying to get across.
There won't be any white nations. White people won't have power. And that's disconcerting for white people. I'm white. I feel white. I look white. I want to be.
You look white, but as we've discussed today now, you are not white. Italian, Hispanic, and Spanish. Is there any white in you, actually? Is there any Northern European in you? Because you've only mentioned 3 racial groups and none of them were Northern Europeans.
Be around people that look like me. That makes me comfortable. That makes me feel at home. And I think there's something tragic and there's something lost if, our homes are being erased. Neighborhoods are no longer filled with the same people, no longer the same heritage, culture, customs. It's sort of.
All of that will continue if people are dark skinned, especially since your whites will still have offspring and your DNA will still be there and we'll still have Western values in America. But yes, the pigmentation of people could change, but not the values.
Like our race and our countries are going extinct. And that is the part that really makes it different than 100 years ago.
Okay, but yeah, so in saying all that, though, I just want to go back to the first point I did state. We have white people. I'm sure they're proud of themselves. White families, if 2 white people get together, they'll have a family. I'm not saying that we need to get rid of white people. I'm just stating that white people came from darker skinned people. So it's always possible to have white people while you have dark skinned people. If you have dark skinned people, I'm not sure if you could if you only had white people, I'm not sure if we could make dark skinned people again. But I am sure that like even if people mingle and people get a little darker, as long as people are separated and diets are different and we're in different parts of the world, I'm sure that there's a possibility that the whites he's talking about that would be lost could be, brought back. But I wouldn't even consider them being lost, because I think you always keep your genes. If you like this video, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. New shows airing Monday through Thursday.